Section 9.6 is on identifying conic sections. The general form for any conic section is ax squared plus bxy plus cy squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0, where a, b, and c are not all equal to 0. The standard form for each conic section was presented in the previous lesson. So for example, with a circle, we saw that it was the quantity x minus h squared plus the quantity y minus k squared equals r squared. All of these standard forms had h's, k's, parentheses, and something squared in them. So a conic, when it's written in general form, can be identified by figuring out what its discriminant is. And it's actually the same discriminant that we use for quadratic equations and quadratic functions. If, I think I meant to put an I there, if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, and b is equal to 0 and a is equal to c, then it's a circle. If b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, and either b is not equal to 0 or a is not equal to c, then it's an ellipse. If b squared minus 4ac equals 0, it's a parabola, and if b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, it's a hyperbola. So let's take a look at a couple examples here. These first two say write each equation in standard form, identify the conic, and then graph it. So I'm going to go ahead and complete the square here. So I'll have x squared minus 6x, and then I see I have a 4y squared, so I'm going to go ahead and factor that out of the 4y, and I'll factor it out of the 16, and I will move my 11 to the other side. Okay, so completing the square with my x's, I'll add a 9. Completing the square with my y's, I'll add a 4, but I really added 16, so I'll add, oh, I forgot to add my 9 over here. When I added that 9 for the x's, I have to add it here, and here I really added a 16, so I'll add it there. This factors into x minus 3 squared plus 4 times y minus 2 squared equals 11 plus 9 plus 16 is 36. Okay, so clearly this is not a circle because it has that 4 right there. So I need to make this equation equal to 1. So we'll divide everything by 36. So that gives me x minus 3 squared over 36 plus y minus 2 squared over 9 equals 1. So this is an ellipse. The reason I know that is there's a plus in the middle here. If there were a minus in the middle there, would be it would be a hyperbola. So let's go ahead and graph this. So my center is going to be at the point 3, -2. Okay, and a squared is 36. Okay, and b squared is 9, so this is going to be horizontal in orientation. And a is going to be equal to the square root of 36, which is 6, and b is equal to the square root of 9, which is 3. So from the center, I'll go 6 to the right, 6 to the left, 3 up, 3 down. Did I count right? Yeah, I think so. And then I'll go ahead and draw it and connect those points. Okay, not a very good ellipse, but you get the idea. Okay, next example is x squared plus y squared plus 12x minus 8y plus 36 equals 0. Again, let's complete the square, and notice there are no coefficients of x squared or y squared. So x squared plus 12x plus y squared minus 8y equals, and let's move that 36 to the other side, -36. So completing the square, half of 12 is 6, squared is 36. So I added 36 over here. Half of -8 is -4, squared is 16. So I'll add 16 here. And this will factor into x plus 6 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 16, and this looks like the equation of a circle. So I don't have to divide everything by 16 because there are no coefficients out front. So the center of this circle is going to be at negative 6, 4, and my radius, this is 16 is r squared, so my radius is going to be 4. So I'll graph that in a fun color here. Negative 6, 4. Did I do that right? 2, 4, 6, 2, 4. Okay, radius is 4, so 4 to the right, 4 up, 4 to the left, 4 down, and connect those. Okay, that's not a very good circle, but you get the idea. Now our next two examples are asking us to do the same thing, identify the conic, but without writing it in standard form. So here we're going to use the discriminant. Remember, that's b squared minus 4ac. First thing I want to do is write it in general form. So I'm going to have my x squared, if I have an xy term, put that next, and then y squared, x, y, and my constant. So I have 4x squared. I don't have a term that has both x and y, nor do I have a term that has a y squared in it. So I will move this 8x to the other side, and then I do my term with just y, and then my constant equals 0. So let's identify what we have. A is the coefficient of x squared, so that's 4. B is the coefficient of my xy term, which I don't have, that's 0. And c is the coefficient of y squared, and I don't have one of those, so that's 0. So b squared minus 4ac gives me 0 squared minus 4 times 4 times 0, and that's going to be just equal to 0. So if the discriminant equals 0, then it's a parabola. Also, another key to that is it's only got one squared term. All of our other conics had 2 squared terms in it. Okay, and our last example here, let's go ahead, and I'm noticing I do have an x squared, I do have a y squared, and I do have an xy term. I'd like to keep my x and y positive if I can, or at least my x squared term positive. So I'm going to move everything over here, but I'm going to write it this way. So 27 x squared, and then if I were moving this term to the other side, it would become a negative 324 xy, and then plus 3y squared. And now my x term is going to move over, 18x. My y term is going to move over, plus 24y, and my constant is already there. Okay, so I have a is equal to 27, b is equal to negative 324, and c is equal to 3. So I'm going to calculate b squared minus 4ac. So that's negative 324 squared, grab your calculator, minus 4 times a, which is 27, times c, which is 3. So 324 squared, let me check that. I got a really big number. Let me grab my calculator real quick here. Okay, yeah, punching that into my calculator, that's 104,976. Wow. Minus 4 times 27 times 3 is 324. Doesn't really matter what the number is, but that is going to be greater than 0, so that means that this is going to be a hyperbola. Okay, so in this section we took a look at how to identify different conic sections by examining the discriminant. And let's go back to that little chart there. This is kind of some of the stuff you have to memorize. Easy, if the discriminant is greater than 0, it's a hyperbola. If it equals 0, it's a parabola. And then if it's less than 0, there are two cases. If b is 0 and a equals c, it's a circle. Basically, the coefficients of x squared and y squared are the same. And if the discriminant is negative and either b is not equal to 0 or a is not equal to c, then it's an ellipse.